As more and more schools resume as the new school year begins in Nigeria, the truth of the matter is learning is broken. Following the shutdown of schools, teachers could only teach students who had access to smart devices, data, and power. However, this is not true progress concerning how mobile can truly impact education, especially considering the fact that an average of 72% of Nigerian secondary school leavers have failed the secondary school leavers exam. Now, joining us to speak on the fundamental issues that exist in the education system and the need to focus on learners' readiness and achievement is Tunji Adegbesan, the CEO of leading curriculum mastery and learning for livelihood platforms, GIDI Mobile. Tunji, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. And
thank you for joining us.
What a timely topic. First of all, we've been speaking about returning back to school after 6 months. Talk to us, how do we bridge the gap in the minds of these children who have maybe several of them, their minds and their brains have gone into recess mode?
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. Yes, it's true. I think to start with, the first thing to do is to realize that there isn't just one student, right? So there are the learners who were in schools and families that are lucky to have better resources and were able to continue learning using digital means. Maybe their schools were able to use Zoom and other technologies of that sort. But you're correct, the vast majority, unfortunately, have had no learning for this entire period. So for most of our learners in Nigeria, they lost the third term. And so they're behind. And then also we've had this challenge of bringing people to school. We have lots of children out of school. A lot of those have gone back in this period. So it's a very serious challenge. And on top of that, not everybody is back at school yet because we're phasing it for health and safety reasons. So it's a difficult time, and definitely we feel it's for that reason very important to focus on the learner because research shows that learner readiness, as it's called technically, the learners being with you, the learners being ready to learn, the learners being ready to engage with teaching is a very, very important determinant of educational effectiveness. So not just putting people through school, which we're getting back to now, we're going to put them back into school, but what will be the outcome at the end of putting them through school? At the end of 6 years, what percentage of them will actually have mastered what they're supposed to learn? That to me is a challenge facing us that we don't think about as much. It is important to put people in school. It is important to process them through the schooling process. But much more important is it for them to acquire the knowledge, skills, and attitudes they need for life success beyond school. And that is a challenge that I don't think we've really spoken very much about in this period.
And Tunji, people will argue that GIDI Mobile was more effective during the lockdown and when schools weren't opened. Now that schools are reopening, how will mobile learning platforms such as GIDI Mobile remain effective?
Oh, very good question. Yes, EdTech is a very broad space, I always say, and to outsiders, all the players may look similar, but they're very, very different. There are in-school solutions, there are after-school solutions, and there are, learner solutions. There are solutions for teachers. So GIDIMO SSP, our School Success Program, actually happens to be an after-school curriculum mastery platform. So our learners use it more during school. So, for example, we did see a spike during the initial lockdown period where private schools continued trying to go to school. We saw we doubled monthly active learners during that period. But during August, when they were, at least those who had school went on recess, then we did, as we always do, we saw less after school mastery. So for us right now, this is a great time because our own solution is designed to accompany the learner during the school term. So after school, you give us 45 to 50 minutes every day, every evening when you have a bit of time, and you'll cover your curriculum faster than your mates in school. You'll be done before the end of your third year, your SS3. So yes, for us, our own solution is more tailored to the school term. It's a solution that accompanies the learner daily while in school. So for us, we're happy that they're getting back to school, to be honest.
All right. Okay, Tunji, I want to find out from you. Because certainly GIDIMO should have the data to probably help probably buttress some of this, the point I'm about to make. The appetite for learning. How much has been devastated during this pandemic? Because certainly there were a lot of work trying to be done to raise the appetite for learning, especially in some remote areas. Due to the COVID pandemic, talk to us. How has the appetite for learning been probably devastated?
Well, the good news. The good news is I don't think it has changed. The bad news is this is our thesis as a company. We think we're not focusing on it enough. We think about, we divide the problems in education into four. So there is the institutions, there is the teachers, motivating them, having enough, valuing them. There is the social cultural context, how we see girls, whether we send them to school and stuff like that. Then there is the learner. And learners, I argue, have not changed. What we have to do as educators is to engage them. So young people are curious, they're creative. And this is why with Gidmo, we focus so much on engagement. So to me, they haven't changed. If you go to a 15-year-old with something boring, then they are bored. But if you go to a 15-year-old with something interesting, they get engaged. And what we have seen actually is that this COVID era has increased what we call digital readiness. So more people are connected or are aware that you can learn digitally. But using the example of GIDI SSP, for example, we don't go to any of our learners and say, hey, come learn physics, come learn chemistry. We tell them about the land of Kirion, which has been riven by 60 years of war, and that you as a 14, 15-year-old can bring peace back to the land. You can bring unity back to the land and development. How do you do that? Conquer the 13 kingdoms of land of Kirion, become a grandmaster, and bring peace to the land. So you say, oh, how do I do a battle, my friends? Train. You get into a training battleground, and it tells you to choose a task. Master Archimedes' principle or master quadratic equations is now a task that brings unity to the world. So it's a play, because we do feel that your education and your learning is how you're going to change the world. So when we say mastering quadratic equations is bringing peace to the land of Kirion, the children are engaged and they enjoy it and they love it. They enjoy battling themselves and seeing who is boss. So for us, we think that children haven't changed. The world has changed. We need to do some work on asking ourselves, what's the appropriate way to engage them today? And we feel that they're still there. They're willing to learn. We're very learner focused in our company. We don't blame the learner. The learner is there. They're young people. They're ready for us. We, as a people, as educators, have we learned to adapt ourselves to them? They have evolved. But I think that young people, curiosity is innate to them. Fun is innate to them. Can we deliver high engagement, high fidelity learning? Those are the twin aims of GIDIMO. Can you have high engagement learning, very, very high engagement, but high fidelity that they actually learn? So I would say children haven't changed, young people haven't changed, but it is educators perhaps haven't changed enough. So they have evolved, but we who are trying to help them learn, maybe we are the ones who haven't changed.
And Tunji, if I were a parent watching this right now, or a learner even watching you, how would I procure the GIDIMO and at what cost?
Okay, beautiful. So you could, any digital device you have that is connected to internet is where you'll find GIDIMO. You can go to the Android Play Store and just type GIDIMO. So you just download it, install it. Or you can go to GIDIMO.com and just sign up there or download there. And we have, it's a paid program. It's called the School Success Program. It costs, we have two plans. The premium plan costs $2,900 a month, and that plan comes with 1 gigabyte of data every week, which we give you when you hit your learning goals. So when you achieve your tasks in the land of Kirion, every weekend we give you 1 gigabyte of data to do whatever you like. But the standard plan, which costs $1,000 a month, doesn't have the rewards and benefits scheme. But then we do have a social plan, and we actually got a grant from google.org to onboard 100,000 people onto this plan free. We've done some work with the Lagos State government, with the Edo State government, and we're actually preparing with some partners at Columbia University in New York, a project right now for Edo State and Kaduna State to help those who are socially disadvantaged to learn for free. So our own philosophy is everyone should learn. Those who can pay, we bill. Those who can't pay, we work with our corporate sponsors to pay for them.
All right. right, Tunji, okay, fantastic work, I must say, you're actually doing right now. So, but I want to find out from you, what is the next step for you, for your company, and what direction will you be going? Now that schools are beginning to resume again, what is the next step?
Awesome. So we're a learning company. Our mission is to make it fun and easy to learn anything on the go. So high school isn't our only segment. So for the high school, secondary school segment, we're launching what we call the Grandmaster's Quest. We're launching next month. And it's a quest whereby all the learners who can become Grandmasters in the land of Curion by August qualify for the Grandmasters Assembly, from which the top Grandmasters, we're going to take them on Grandmasters World Tour. We're going to go to Harvard University, we're going to go to MIT, we're going to go to Oxford, Cambridge, Stanford, and Silicon Valley. And we're going to take them and show them that learning is value, learning is the future. We're going to excite them and show the world that Africans are bright, they're Grandmasters. So we're preparing for the Grandmaster's Quest. We're rolling out in India as well. Currently we're doubling every month, and it's really exciting. We were invited there, and we're excited to be taking innovation from Africa to a very advanced technology space. And then we're also starting with micro SME learning programs, because like I said, we're a learning company, not just an education company, and we're partnering with a major bank. We should be rolling that out in January, and we're targeting 2 million micro SMEs. So we want to help everybody to learn and connect them to economic opportunity using learning. And our dream, maybe we're a bit crazy, is to connect 100 million people to opportunity in the next 15 years. So that's what we're working on. We're rolling out the Grandmaster's Quest for high school. We're growing in India, and we're rolling out our micro SME learning program.
Interesting work there. And it's good you mentioned innovation. Tell us about your innovation into mass gamification and learning of skill acquisitions.
Awesome. So for us, like I said, we focus, learning has some principles, technically there's learner readiness, there's effect, there's recency, and all those kind of things. And we're very focused on the learner readiness principle. Like I said, it's the primary principle for an educator. If you don't have the learner with you in the same space, you can't start the learning process. So we use gamification a lot, because in gamification, there's a concept called flow. And flow is when the player gets into a zone and enjoys the learning. So we try to mimic flow in learning using gamification, and gamification as an engagement tool. So for each segment, we always say to ourselves, how do you drive engagement? So for the learners, level one is learning, level 2 is engagement. So for high school, as an example, like I said, we created the land of Curion. And that land of Curion with 13 kingdoms is the engagement layer that keeps the learners going. Parents don't have to force them. You don't have to, in fact, you have to make sure they do other things as well, because we make the learning fun. For the micro SMEs, it's still a little bit under wraps, but fundamentally what we're doing is we're creating a program. It's called Oga Boss. And then if you're a trader in the market, your objective is to become a chairman. That's what it's called in the game. How do you become a chairman? Where you roll out your own business, you can take loan by yourself, you can import and export. You have to go through levels that mimic the Southeastern freedom system. It's a kind of guild system where you learn, you grow, and then you get your freedom, right? So we create an engagement layer on top of the learning that the learner engages with, and is not really focused on, now I'm reading book, because many of us have had unfortunately bad experiences with education. So when you say school education, many people is a negative experience. So instead we say that thing you want to be a chairman, you want
all
to
right,
be
many
great,
thanks
that
to
kind
you,
of stuff.
Tunji, for your time today. Stellar work you and your company are doing. GIDI, keep the flag flying. I must actually say thank you for your time here on The Morning Show.